Alright, this is Big Boss, it's Foxhound Woodsball, come to you from Fort Lauderdale, and for my blog page at outerheavenpaintball.blogspot.com. I'm also repping Acid Tactical, so you can check that out at acidtactical.com. As always, links will be in the description to this video. Now, for this video, we're going to be discussing the Special Forces look. Now, when it comes down to paintball or airsoft even, there's always the guys that want to roll with the latest and the greatest. It doesn't matter if it's the camouflage pattern, the gear they carry, and so on and so forth. But in another way, this is the more modern Special Forces stuff, and stuff that we've seen in TV, movies, social media, and the like. But when you really get down to it from a historian perspective, the look at Special Forces has seriously evolved over the years. It doesn't matter if they're doing a direct action mission, it doesn't matter if they're doing a foreign internal defense mission or anything like that. Now, with that out of the way, for this particular video I'm going to be discussing a few things about the look of the Special Forces as far as their gear, how gear is set up, and so on and so forth. And one of the reasons I want to get into stuff like this is, one, why should the airsoft guys have all the fun with this shit? And just figured it would be something new to try out as far as giving some ideas on what players can do as far as their gear loadouts go and anything like that. Well, anyway, let's get into it. Okay, I hope you like the intro to this video. Now, as I was saying, the Special Forces look has evolved over the years, and with that being said, the look could change depending upon the operations that they're doing. One day they could be kitted up in full tac gear like this, and they'll be doing a direct action mission on an enemy compound or something of that nature. Other missions, they're dressed like the local people of the area they're operating in to leave a small footprint, but still do what they need to do to get the job done, either that being direct action operations or foreign internal defense, or just blending in with the locals for some other operations template, or they're dressed in like regular everyday civilian clothes doing personal protection details and stuff like that. Mainly when we see the tactical look on paintball field, it's the latest and greatest. Don't get me wrong, it's cool as hell though, but there are certain times where it just gets too much. Now, this is relatively modern, but it's also old in a sense because I'm wearing the M.O.L.L.E 2 medic vest, I'm wearing woodland fatigues, and quite frankly, this entire look would be considered a modern Special Forces look because the pouches are all M.O.L.L'd on. I've got a gun here that is tactical beyond belief with the little gangster grip here, the dot sight, I got flip up iron sights, I've got rails galore on this thing, and this quite frankly would be the modern Special Forces look, especially because of the top I'm wearing. It's what you'd call a raid top. You got the body armor or vest friendly pocket placements, the velcro on here. I'm all completely decked out for what would be a modern day special operations thing. Now, with that being said, I can understand that there are players in paintball that probably come from airsoft and they've seen a lot of the historic impersonations or representations, stuff like that. In a lot of ways, paintball and airsoft share something quite similar. we all have that inner nerd in us with the cosplay and the impersonation stuff, and quite frankly, we probably need more of that in paintball anyway. But as far as the gear goes, as I said, this is all modern and full vest of pouches galore. Even on the back, you got the camelback carrier, you got the pouch for the tank, and all this is in a completely comprehensive, self-contained package. Now, what if you want to do more of the historical impersonations and want to do a special forces setup from like the 80s and 90s? Well, gonna be swapping that one over, so give me a sec to swap all this stuff out. Okay, swap the gear rigs over. Now, I still maintain the pistol and the drop blade because that was still going a thing with this gear setup I'm showing off. Now, this particular rig setup is your like mid 80s to late 90s type deal for a typical special forces loadout. Now, this is using the old A.L.I.C.E gear. Now, a lot of guys do take stuff both military issue as well as commercially available surplus equipment and mix and match to get what they need for a particular operation. As you can see, I'm running the old school A.L.I.C.E H gear rig. As you can see by the name, the H gear is because of the suspenders. Now, these are the kind that they used during Vietnam, and quite frankly, the aftermarket H suspenders were a lot better than the GI issue Y harness suspenders, but operators would use either or, which is acceptable for this particular loadout. As you can see, running with the LC2 magazine pouches on both sides. This would allow me, if I was running an actual AR-15, to carry 12 magazines, 30 round capacity of 5.56, one in the mag for 13. Plus, I'd be carrying 8 M67 fragmentation grenades. Typical canteens, though, these are not the appropriate ones, though they are acceptable, even though these are in Woodland and they're aftermarket. The real GI issue ones are in the OD pattern and are marked as US. Going on to the back, you got your nice Black Hawk butt pack on here. Now, this is kind that Bruce Willis was wearing in that movie Tears of the Sun. Then again, that particular movie, the vast majority of their gear was made by Black Hawk, so they pretty much sponsored that movie. Now, with that being said, the uniform is your typical M81 Woodland BDU style. That would be the 4 pockets, 2 on the bottom, 2 on the top, and this was fairly common during the 80s and 90s when you're talking U.S. Special Forces. Them doing the conventional, well, their run-of-the-mill unconventional warfare stuff for the time. However, guys would modify these BDU tops. They take the 2 bottom pockets and have a tailor move them up to the top near the shoulder. That would be called a Special Forces modified BDU top. That was also the precursor to the raid BDUs that were popping up in Iraq back in 04 and 05. But other than that, this is pretty much jack of all trades, master of none. You can carry a good amount of kit on here. And these mag pouches, for players who do hopper, for hopper fed players, these are pretty good for carrying your 75 round view loader type paintball pods, so you can get away with 100 round pods depending upon the model. Fits in here real good, nice and secure, and you don't really have to worry about it. For you mag fed players, on the other hand, if you want to run these old type of A.L.I.C.E pouches for what kind of military look you're going for on the woods field. The U.S. did make LC2 magazine pouches that were made to accommodate your 7.62 caliber magazines, particularly for the AK-47 and the AK-74. Now, I will warn you, they are not easy to find. However, I will try to get links into the description to this video for those. They were sent as part of foreign aid to countries that were westernizing, from the Soviet model to the more westernized standard of relations between the government and the military. But a lot of those countries, they didn't want the M16, so they kept the Kalashnikov. So yet they still wanted US made gear, so we made some ammo pouches to accommodate that. However, they have been used by the US Special Forces for operations where AKs are more preferable, or operation profile disallows use of American made weaponry. Other than that, both those type of magazine pouches would be acceptable as far as a Special Forces loadout goes. Now, butt pack, on the other hand, this Black Hawk one, this one is what they call an enhanced one, because you've got the quick clips in the back here, so that way you can just clip it open, get to whatever you need to, and just clip it up when you're done. It's similar dimensions to the GI issue butt packs of the period, but the Black Hawk one would probably be the best option. However, both the Black Hawk and the GI standard issue are acceptable, and I'll give you more on the Black Hawk butt pack later on in this video. Other than that, no frills, no BS. Now, going over for final setup idea, so give me 1 second on that one as we go through this. Alright, final gear configuration that I'm running through on this one. As you can see, usual same type of kit, but the vest is the difference in this one. Now, I haven't worn this vest in God knows how many years, but this is a LBV 88 tactical load bearing vest. This is the early production model. You can tell the early models from later production models is that the body of the vest is all Cordura nylon material, keeps in body heat, so later on the military switched that over to a mesh material. And the magazine pouches are also different. As you can see, the magazine pouches are straight vertical 90 degrees to allow you to get to your magazines. Now, the two outboard pouches, one on the left, one on the right, can hold two 30-round 5.56 mags for your AR. Two inboard ones could carry a single 5.56 mag, and because this was built around the old A.L.I.C.E system, utilizing the old pistol belt, you can still modify, add on to what's on the vest still. You still got plenty of room on the belt to add canteens, magazine pouches, butt packs, and various other items. You can even slap on a M.O.L.L.E hydration carrier on this thing. It's that versatile. Now, I'm running this with the pods as a show of what you can do for those guys who like to run hoppers on a paintball field. Hence why I had the Alpha Blackout. And if you're curious about this rifle sling, this is from Acid Tactical. You can check them out at acidtactical.com. As I said, solid piece of kit. Now, moving on from there, because I didn't modify this vest in any substantial way, this is as is. Now, you could easily get to your pods without a problem. The problem is that these inboard pouches makes re-indexing these pods back into the pouch difficult. So a butt pack or a dump pouch for your pods would be a good option. However, you could get away with one pod in each pouch, though. As I said, re-indexing these is going to be a nightmare. Now, the reason why the military liked this vest was that we began using, during the Vietnam War, we began reusing captured chest rigs we got off the Viet Cong and the NVA. The guys at Natick said, hey, it's a good idea, we can make it more ergonomic, we can make it more comfortable for the guys wearing it. The idea of wearing your equipment rather than carrying it, and this vest is the end result of that. Now, speaking of the magazine pouches on this vest, in the later models, along with the mesh body, the pouches were slanted to a 45-degree angle, so that way it made it easier to access the magazines. Now, last note on this vest, for you guys who like to run magazines, you can run your 68 caliber 20 round count magazines in here. The outboard pouches are ideal for it because you can slip it in, slide the cover on, easy as that. The inboard one, on the other hand, will be the most difficult part. As you can see, because it is a tighter fit, and it was made for a single AR mag instead of the 68 caliber mag, this thing will fit more like a AK-47 magazine in here. So, as you can see, with all four mag pouches fully loaded, for all you magazine fed players, this would not be a bad idea if you want to run low profile. It'd be easy to get out a magazine if you need to, and for any of you players that are into modifications, this vest, as far as the look for Special Forces, is great. How I will say, you do have some wiggle room on a lot of stuff, especially this particular vest style. Guys would probably take these grenade pouches and modify them in order to be able to have more gear somewhere, or switch it around if they wanted to, as far as special operations modified equipment. Now, on that note, SF guys were notorious for modifying all their shit. If it was in their guns, their uniforms, it was their gear. So, with that being said, with these inboard pouches, you can actually take like shock cord, and you can essentially take the flap, tuck it in. You could stitch in some shock cord on the magazine pouch, so that way you could keep it secure. Other than that, you can just tuck these flaps in, and keeps it a little tighter, allows you to have that quick draw capability on these magazines if you're doing any serious running and gunning. That being said, this thing would probably be good for most of your smaller 68 caliber magazines, like your 5s, your 10s, your TIPX mags, and your beta mags. However, this would pretty much be the solid gist of it for those that want to do a Special Forces load with this particular vest platform. A final note on that, you could modify the inside of this pouch with some Velcro, so that way it could at least hook on to the Velcro that's right here above the mail snap portion of this mag pouch, so that way it holds it secure. Other than that, this vest is solid, it is good to go, and it works. So, moving on. When we look at Special Forces clothing, this can be broken down into two categories, tactical and non-tactical. Tactical clothing is used more or less for direct action operations or day-to-day SF operations. Non-tactical clothing is mainly civilian attire that has a tactical flair like cargo pants and the like, and is more often used by private security contractors when operating in and around areas that are occupied by U.S. or coalition forces. This is what contractors use to differentiate themselves from military personnel. However, military personnel do often dress in civilian attire as part of a protection detail or as part of a more clandestine action to blend in with partner forces that they're operating with. Another exception to this rule are non-military issue patterns such as the tiger stripe patterns, both the jungle and desert designs. If Americans are wearing patterns like that, chances are likely they're not American military personnel but are operating as part of a CIA paramilitary unit. These can be broken down into their Special Activities Division or their GRS, their Global Response Staff, which are former military personnel that are contracted to the CIA for various operations or missions that are being conducted by the agency outside the chain of command of the U.S. military. Like all vests in the 90s, right into the early 2000s, they were made with fixed pouches, meaning that the pouches were stitched in place and you couldn't move them around. The vest you're looking at is a Black Hawk Omega 40mm grenade / rifleman setup. This was designed for operators who are carrying a AR platform rifle or carbine with an M203 grenade launcher mounted underneath. As you can see from the layout, it's pretty straightforward. You got pouches for your magazines and pouches for your grenades, and the belt loops to add a GI pistol belt for use with other LC2 load-bearing pouches for your operational needs. Now flipping over to the back of it, you can see the back setup as a what's called a BTS setup. This is for the Blackhawk's modular concept. You wrap the Velcro straps around the back of the vest to attach it, and it's also able to work with the older generation of the LC2 A.L.I.C.E clip system, so that way you could mix and match Blackhawk BTS pouches and or A.L.I.C.E equipment. Now, swapping over the more modern day variation of this vest, the front is still the fixed in place magazine and grenade pouches, while the back is of the newer generation M.O.L.L.E or PALS type webbing to fix modular pouches onto the back, as opposed to the older BTS gear that Blackhawk created. With that, this system is still pretty versatile. It's still a solid performer for those who are looking for that particular look. However, if you're looking for a 90s to early 2000s look, you want to look at the vest with the BTS webbing on the back if you're looking to be period correct. Another concept would be the Blackhawk BTS assault vest. This is where the BTS system is on both front and back, and in a lot of ways this is the precursor to the modern day M.O.L.L.E vests that we see so much on the market these days. The BTS vest can allow for attaching A.L.I.C.E pouches and or the Blackhawk BTS pouches simultaneously, and allows for a more tactical and modular vest setup. Now, got a fast video on the explanation of the Blackhawk BTS butt pack, so stick around.
Okay, this is the Blackhawk BTS butt pack. This is also called the Blackhawk Enhanced butt pack. Now, this thing's been around since the mid 90s at least, from my understanding of it. Now, this thing is a far cry from the GI issue butt packs that have been around for decades, going back to Vietnam. Now, one of the more convenient aspects of this particular butt pack would be these side release buckles on here to allow you to gain easy access to your butt pack if you need to, if you have this rigged up to your web gear. Now, nice spacious interior. You got this lip that comes up here to help weatherproof a lot of your kit, but as you can see, this thing has quite literally been through the ringer in some areas. Still got some paintball equipment in here, but I digress on that. Now, this you've got the side area for attaching any A.L.I.C.E items, though you can use the A.L.I.C.E adapters if you need to, if you're hooking on a knife sheath or anything like that. Got it on each side. You can put canteens, mag pouches, anything like that. We've also got these plastic hard points both on the top and on the bottom on either side of the drain hole. This allows you to attach additional items such as ponchos, poncho liners, Gore-Tex, anything like that Ranger rolled. So you've got a lot of packing ideas with this particular one, as well as the nice carry handle. Now, what sets this apart from other military type butt packs would be the back of it. Now, as you can see, I've got 3 A.L.I.C.E clips rigged in here, so that way you could easily hook this onto a pistol belt. You've got the D-rings up here to attach to your suspenders, but what sets this apart is these wraps here. Now, as you can see, this is what makes it BTS. As you can see, this thing was designed to fit on a Blackhawk duty belt that has the Velcro on the underside of it, particularly the soft part. As you can see, you put this on, you could put the A.L.I.C.E clips on if you need to, and this part actually would go on it and wrap it, keep it in place. You got it on both sides. For a military type butt pack, this thing is pretty good. It allows you to put it on GI pistol belts. You can put this on a Blackhawk BTS belt. Now, as a if you want to be spot on with the special forces look as far as gear goes, if you're going for the 90s, Blackhawk is pretty much a spot on company to get gear from. However, if you want to be more for the 90s look, then all your vests on the back panels will need the BTS material on here if you want to truly be spot on. And with that, I'll leave you to some final thoughts. Okay, now, I just went through a small portion of everything that a paintball player can do for that so-called special forces look. Now, with today's paintball, it's like I've seen kids wearing everything from the latest and greatest right down to old school, and it's it's just like with the airsoft guys. It's like everybody wants the latest and greatest on camouflage equipment. It's like M.O.L.L.E gear or some other type of mounting systems that are supposed to be high end and everything like that. All the bells and whistles to be tactical, but at the same time, it's like for any player that wants to set themselves apart from the pack, not go with these trends. It's like the older type of gear, the older uniform styles, the older patterns, they are just as effective as the so-called latest and greatest. But you can also run with nothing but blue jeans, a t-shirt, a New York Yankees cap, and your gunning gear. So hopefully I've given a good explanation on this stuff, and with that, if you want to check out the written version of this, you can check out outerheavenpaintball.blogspot.com. I will post a link in the description to this video. I'll also be posting links to some of the places you could get some of the more hard to find things, such as the LC2 AK mag pouches and stuff like that. Also, the sling I had on my Alpha Black, I did a review on that one for Acid Tactical. That's their 550 paracord sling. I'll leave a link in the description of this video if you want a 550 cord sling for Acid Tactical. And with that, this is Big Boss, and I'm out of here.